Hey everybody, Spencer here. It was a great Saturday. I had a chance to do some rereading, and what I chose to look at this time was what I think is kind of an underappreciated short run and kind of a gem of the New 52, and that's the storyline Men of Tomorrow by Geoff Johns, John Romita Jr., Klaus Janson, Laura Martin, and then also Hi-Fi. Colors helped out a little bit with the last issue as well. Fantastic run. It's. I think sometimes people look back at the New 52 era of DC or the New 52 era of Superman and think, well, it wasn't that great. But actually, there were a lot of great comics there if you take a closer look. And so that's what I wanted to do. I had a chance to reread a little bit of Geoff Johns' Justice League run recently and decided to follow that up with reading some of his Superman run. So I just kind of want to talk a little bit about that and give my recommendation, a big time recommendation for it, because it's a great story and it's a pretty short commitment in terms of the story that you're reading. So it starts with Superman 32, and the story is essentially about Clark feeling lonely, no one really understanding kind of where he comes from, not feeling like he has a great confidant, and into his life comes this new character, Ulysses, who has a very similar origin to Clark. Seems like they have a lot of backstory in common, as well as their powers. So Clark thinks that maybe he has a fast friend that he's making here. As the storyline continues from there, you start to see more layers. You start to find out a little bit more about Ulysses' backstory, and it's not necessarily all that it was originally cracked up to be. I'm trying to avoid any spoilers, even though the storyline's a few years old now. But I always want to kind of let readers experience the storyline fresh. I do want to show off some of the great art in it, though. This is one of the covers that John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson and Laura Martin turned in, and I think it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, I am definitely a big fan of smiling, happy, cheerful Superman, but I also like sometimes when he just rolls up his sleeves and shows that he's the toughest superhero around and that you do not want to mess with him. So I love sort of the beaming red eyes there. I love showing the power, and I love the use of shadow as well. It's just an awesome cover, and I think in general, John Romita Jr., this was his big debut after decades, really, as a Marvel artist, and he knocked it out of the park. I think that he can do the small scenes, but I think when you bring in John Romita Jr., what you're really hoping for is some of that big bombast, those big scenes that people can go, wow, did you see this? Check this out, look at this. So here's another great example. This is when Superman and Ulysses are working together, and they're carrying this huge ship. And there's the two of them, and you see the rain under them. Just thought that was really fantastic. And I think, too, even though the storyline is a Superman story, you do get to see John Romita Jr. draw some other DC icons. So here's his first Batman with Superman, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I love that he draws the characters a little bit rougher, a little bit tougher. They're not quite as squeaky clean looking as some other artists, although I'm always a fan of that as well. But I don't want to just talk about the art, although I thought the art team did a fantastic job. But probably my favorite issue of the whole run is the last issue, and that's issue Superman 39. And in that issue, Clark finds himself without superpowers for 24 hours. And you get into his head a little bit, because he also has revealed his secret to Jimmy Olsen. And the two of them have a day together, and you get to see that the powers don't really make Clark a superhero. It's not really that at all. It's his upbringing, it's his personality, it's part of who he is. There's a fantastic scene where he faces down a mugger with a gun in Superman costume, but not knowing whether or not he has his powers back. And it's really not his powers that save the day. It's his belief in people, and it's his belief in the best in people and giving people another chance. It's really fantastic. I do love this scene at the end. Clark and Jimmy are having some hot dogs, I think, after the day. They're up on the Daily Planet. And Jimmy asks him, how was it? How different was it being a human for a day? And he says, honestly, it really wasn't that different. And I just think that's a beautiful sentiment. I thought the team really knocked it out of the park. Like I said, sometimes the New 52 can get a bad rap, but I would absolutely recommend this story, Men of Tomorrow. I'm sure you can find it in collection or at your local comic book store. So I want to thank everybody. Just a short video tonight. I'll be back again, hopefully in a few days. But if you haven't already, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.